Baby Shay is at Brinkston. Damon is still pissed. And JR finds out the ultimate truth about his parents. What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another All-American Homecoming video. In this video, we are talking about episode 6 from season 1. It was another fire episode, and if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications so that you don't miss out on any of my All-American Homecoming coverage. I am so excited to talk about this episode because All-American Homecoming continues to be such an authentic, dope, nuanced, layered story that is just told so beautifully, and so many things were going on, and it's a lot to talk about and break down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with JR, who in this episode continues on with the quitting of the team. So y'all, I didn't even get to the point of him trying to come back and getting drug tested and being suspended or any of those things that we were actually talking about, because at the top of the episode, he is clearing out his locker. He gets wind of Damon giving Simone a cold shoulder as he is making his exit from cleaning out his locker. Damon at the start of the episode don't have no rap for JR, don't have no rap for Simone. He is still very much so pissed and lets them know, yeah, because my Brinkston family lied to me and I didn't anticipate that. And y'all, I don't blame him, but poor little Tink Tink. But anyway, focusing on JR, he from there goes back home, and once he arrives there, he realizes that his parents are packing up their house because they have sold it. So not only have these parents decided to get this divorce, which seems random to JR, but they say has been a long time coming. They also have sold the house without communicating to this boy. This is why parents need to be honest. They need to be honest in the moment of wherever season that they are in, because stuff like this is what hits kids like a ton of bricks and completely traumatizes them. Had they walked him through or even given him any inkling that anything was afoot or was amiss, then they wouldn't be trying to play catch up and clean up and prove to him that, oh, we still love you even though we don't love each other. Y'all could have shown him that. Y'all could have been fighting or been in a disagreement and not necessarily show him the actual fighting, but show y'all being separate, but still showing that there's love for him there. Every time I see the divorce storyline play out, and not that this is cliche at all, because I like how they're doing it on the show. It's very exemplary for how it happens in real life, but it just grinds my gears because parents make this choice thinking that they are protecting a kid or saying that they're protecting a kid, and ultimately I feel like a lot of parents make the decision to go about it this way and not tell the kid anything until the very last moment, not because they're really trying to protect the kid, but because they're trying to protect themselves. And in the moments that they're going through the struggle and the strife, they can't be honest with themselves fully, and that's what it requires for you to actually go to your child and communicate what's going on. You would actually have to be honest. And JR is the one suffering the consequences of this when he walks in and sees that the house is getting packed up. So he comes home for a weekend to try to figure out and ask questions and get better clarity and hopefully stop himself from continuing to ruin his life behind this news. He walks into the fact that he's going to have to pack up his childhood room and he's going to have to completely readjust everything, and it's not what it seems. And mama dropping little hints about how daddy turning his back on her, but he can't turn his back on JR. And it's like, but wait, I thought that this was a mutual thing. I thought that y'all were, mutually splitting, or this has been a long time coming. When after you said that, it's given daddy is leaving you for the milkmaid or the lady down the street, the damn mail lady. What is actually happening? And we don't get any further clarity on that, but we do get to see his mom stand up for him when it comes to his father. And I think that this is going to be a thing that continues to persist the rest of the season. It was really good to see JR's mom, because I wanted to get a little bit better clarity on this family unit and how it's functioning, because daddy is giving raggedy, and I'm like, all right, is mama really raggedy too, or is everybody basically suffering the consequences of daddy's decisions? Now, I can't actually say either way just yet. In future episodes, it's definitely going to be able to become a little bit more clear. JR doesn't wind up getting the answers that he's looking for, so he ultimately comes back to Brinkston, makes it just in time for family dinner night at Auntie Amara's, and there he rolls up on Damon like, yo, we need to get a DNA test, and they both agree that they're going to do it. So we are still on this who's the daddy train. Speaking of mamas, Damon's mama comes to visit, but then also Simone's mama pops her goofy head up, y'all, and y'all know we on her behind. We are on her behind. You took her money for her dorm. You didn't see her off. You acted a monkey fool at this wedding that didn't happen. Girl, we are on your behind, and you decide to come down to Brinkston and continue to show your behind. I absolutely cannot. It's these parents for me. Where is the Grace Jameses of the world? honestly, y'all, I'm still on the fence about who both Damon and Simone's parents are, because I do believe that Simone's mama might not actually still be her mama. In this episode, we discover that Simone's mama had to leave school for a semester or a little bit as well, which put her behind, and she's been trying to make up for it ever since in her career. And her excuse for leaving school for that time was so that she could be able to afford to pay for Auntie Amara to come to Brinkston, and she couldn't afford to stay at Harvard. And I'm just like, okay, so this Hicks sister left school at this time. This Hicks sister left school at this time, and they both talking about they were just chilling. I doubt it, okay? I seriously doubt it. And while Auntie Amara is all pissed about her sister lying to her and not telling her that this was what was going on after they had settled their father's estate after he passed, girl, you got secrets too. Yes, your sister is part of the reason why, you know, Coach Turner decided to turn his back on you and separate, and because he wasn't good enough and she convinced him, yada, yada, yada. But girl, you also left school too. Did you leave school while they were paying for it? So you should feel extra guilty because ain't nobody knew that you left school. And meanwhile, she over here sacrificing semesters at Harvard so that you could come down here and pussyfoot around with semesters at Brinkston. Auntie Amara, what happened to that time, honey? Because we didn't get that in this episode. Did y'all catch that? She was very much so big pissed with Big Sis, but we didn't get no clarity in reference to where did she go when she took her semester off. But staying on Big Sis Hicks for a second, Simone's mama. One, she comes down here and Auntie Amara is the one who called her thinking that they could have some type of family reunion and healing session because Baby Shay was going to be in town. But she ain't actually let her younger sister know that she was coming. So she is definitely popping up, which puts everybody in a tailspin because ain't nobody was expecting you, girl, and your negative energy. We got to be able to prepare for that, okay? But she shows up and she also coordinates an interview with the Atlanta Law Review. And I'm like, but you're based in LA. Honey, why do you need to sit with the Atlanta Law Review? Why would this be a good for your career and boosting your notoriety? Oh, you said that you should have your own firm by now. You're behind, huh? Y'all, Simone's mama is moving to Atlanta, and I hate that for Simone. She set up this interview so that she could start to build a buzz for herself. Big LA law attorney, big cases, big money. Maybe it would be a lot easier for her to open up her own firm and jump off right away if she came to Atlanta, which is why she's building up this publicity with the Atlanta Law Review, because the Atlanta Law Review has nothing to do with the LA Law Review or anything that's happening in LA. And for her to be talking about this is such a big opportunity. NK&M is cooking up for her mama to come and terrorize us in Atlanta, and I hate that for Simone. By the end of the episode, though, Simone and her mom come to a place of common ground and understanding, which I was so surprised that we would ever get to, because Simone's mama gives that mama that is never going to back down off of her bull. That's never going to concede to her crazy, that just is always going to spiral, center herself, and do the damn most, knowing that it's time for her to do a little bit less. But by the end of the episode, she is trying to prioritize her relationship with Simone. She doesn't want that to continue to be strained. They come up with common ground and a foundation where Simone's mama will actually include Baby Shay in her life when she gets back to LA, and how they're going to navigate between themselves. And I'm like, okay, we're going to give it a try, but I still don't trust you, Mrs. Hicks. In other news, though, let's focus a little bit on Baby Shay, who is in town at Brinkston, brought by his adoptive mom. And it looks like Simone and adoptive mom have such a wonderful relationship. I love that for the both of them. Simone is able to actually spend a day with Baby Shay because their babysitter drops out, and it's like perfect. So we actually get to see Baby Shay with Simone alone quite a bit. And then also she gets to introduce him to her Brinkston family. Those little scenes, little montages where Simone, Nate, and Keisha are there with the baby is crying, was utterly hilarious. Super amazing comedic relief. I enjoy every bit of those scenes. It was so adorable. Like looking at their facial expressions and just how they played those scenes, it was so freaking cute. But I will say, y'all, I hate this for me. Let me go ahead and preface this by saying that I hate this for me because y'all know I came into this season full on ready to hate Damon, and like I was gonna stand beside that opinion and that thought. But why is he so daggone likable? It annoys me and my homegirls. I mean, maybe my homegirls already liked him and I was the only one standing over here like, man, bump Damon. But I feel like one of the cutest moments in this episode was watching Damon with Baby Shay. And I said, God damn it. But y'all, they're not going to get together. I don't care how good Damon is with baby Shay. Damon and Simone actually wind up making up in this episode, and they have their friendship back, and they're able to support each other and all that jazz. I'm still Team Jamone. I can like Damon as a person, as a character, but be clear, we are still for Simone and her relationship with Jordan. You know why? Because they also seemingly are having a healthy long distance relationship. Both of them are very solid in where they are, and I think that part of that comes from the foundation of just feeling super stable and grounded within their relationship apart. Now, Damon was very, very cute with baby Shay. And I'm glad that he was able to get over his things so that he could embrace baby Shay in the way that he did. It was really cool to see both Damon and Simone reconnect in this episode. You really get, by the time that they actually do reconcile, you get like, oh, this is what we kind of been missing. Not that the episode was missing anything, but it's noticeable. It's noticeable when they don't interact or when they're beefing. But one thing that I will say, before we got to this point, I was excited kind of that Damon wasn't actually speaking to Simone, because we were able to really experience his story on his own. And that's one of the things that I am thoroughly enjoying about All American Homecoming. Yes, there's the seeds of like, will they, won't they? Damon clearly has feelings for Simone. Simone is in this relationship with Jordan, but is really dependent upon her friendship with Damon and really building out her circle and her family here at Brixton. But these two characters, and this is something I have said from the beginning, while this is Simone's show, this is also Damon's show, and they can stand alone. I think one of the things that I'm struggling with right now on All American is how interwoven a lot of people's storylines are, and how when they're kind of separate, they kind of feel boring or flat, or even when they're together, it's kind of giving flat. But with Damon, he spent the majority of this episode frolicking on his own, figuring out what was going on with him and Santiago and how they can get to a better place and come into a place of respect from Santiago, or with Santiago, because he understood his background, understood what was driving him, and was able to stop making assumptions and able to have conversations with his mama. Even in moments where Damon is sitting alone and just trying to process, or even talking with Coach Turner and like trying to process how he feels and trying to be cautious and respectful of the boundary that he created with his mama, but not trying to piss that off, and wanting answers but then wanting them to stay in a good place. Like, all of that we were seeing happen with Damon was completely outside of Simone, and it was a full story that we could watch without needing her to prop it up. And I'm like, yo, this is what I'm talking about in reference to fully developed characters that just give story. This episode, as well as previous episodes, has done a really great job of, with every single character, really dropping into their stories and how they are really solid on their own, so that when we do throw the whole group together, when we do have people interacting, when we do have story elements crossing over into one another, they make sense and just continue to push the story forward, versus having the story of the show be rested on these particular instances, if that makes sense. Damon is a man, a character of his own, and I'm really interested in what he got going on, whether or not he wants to be with Simone, if that makes sense. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that Damon has a strong storyline? In the comment section, go ahead and let me know right now. So yeah, I enjoyed seeing that, and I said all of that to say that is also what I think is getting me to like Damon as a character, because he's a really well developed character, and he's evolving. Coach Turner makes this note in this episode when speaking to his mom at the end of the episode, and he tells her, like, your son is growing, and I can't even knock it. Like, had he stayed the same, had he been stuck in his toxicity and his problematic, oh, everything is about me, and not, be running up against different hurdles, but actually, running into a wall, learning from it, and making a side step, making a pivot, getting better, then I could continue to hate him. But he's actually growing. He's actually learning. He's actually taking time to stop and think and listen and be better. I think that the scenes with Santiago and him with the young kids, and, they had to be a part of the mentorship with one of the sponsors, and that provided further clarity and context for both of the guys, for each other, but then for us as an audience member, just to be able to see Damon's growth, we definitely get to see that in that scene in particular. Now, while we talking about growth, child, I'm gonna need some growth to happen on Keisha's part, because our good sis is getting in the way of her own happiness again, and we hate that for her. Okay, and guess what? Nate, she only gonna be able to do but so much. Nate rolls up on Cam in this episode like, yo, you need to figure out what it is and what it ain't, because you helped our girl go ahead and go after her dreams and quit med school, and you influencing her, and clearly she like you, so you better make sure that this is real, because this is no longer giving, no strings. And if you don't, you gonna have to see me. And I'm like, yes, sis, yes. Get you a Nate. Everybody need one of her, because that's a real friend right there. But no amount of Nate intimidation is going to stop the fact that Keisha is actually getting in her own way when it comes to Cam. Girl, why did you leave this boy at this piece of place, or wherever the place is? Not you standing up this boy who already struggles with like connection and vulnerability and being open. Like, Cam leads with sarcasm. Cam leads with his hateration because he's like masking or creating a wall to protect himself. And girl, you have already gotten past the wall. Do not get inside the inner city and then start running amok so that he's going to start putting up walls in the city gates, honey. Now he's going to get a complex, and it's going to get even worse. Like, Keisha and Cam have such beautiful chemistry. They have such amazing setup for them to be together. They are positively impacting one another. She realizes this. She realizes this so much so that she actually thanks him for pushing her, right? She does that. Realizes that, she's definitely walking in her dream of dancing and being in this Normani video because all that he has done for her and pushing her to do so. She recognizes her feelings, but then she like takes 2 steps forward and then 5 back when it comes to him. And I'm just like, girl, why? Let yourself be happy. And now I'm like really getting more curious about the ex-boyfriend that she was trying to use Spencer to make jealous, because what did that boy do? What did that boy do that makes her feel like she can't give in to Cam? That's what it's given for me. Like, none of this was like actually explicitly explained in the episode, but y'all, to me, my first thought, yes, a woman can have full agency of her body and her sexuality and all of that. If you want to just go ahead and get it in because you want to, that is 100% okay, cool. That can be the case. That's not necessarily the case for me. Like, I don't particularly operate like that because I definitely attach feelings to sexual exchanges. But when I look at Keisha specifically, I feel like she set up this whole this whole smashing situation, this whole no feeling situation, because she was just coming out of a relationship and she had feelings attached. I don't know if Keisha is that girl. I don't think that she's that girl to just be smashing and not be able to develop feelings, which is why she actually tried to walk into it this way and say it in up front, because whatever that little raggedy boy before Cam did, he definitely did some stuff where breaking her heart, and maybe she thought that they were in a relationship and he was just like, nah, we was just smashing shorty and now he need to be slapped, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Cam and Keisha went into their whole thing talking about something they weren't going to catch feelings, and both of them have caught feelings. So guess what? When the situation has changed, when the circumstances have changed, when the environment has adjusted, we need to sit down and rediscuss. Because Keisha, I can't take you leaving this boy when he talked about he want to take you out. This is now the second time. The first time you told him to his face that you wasn't going to be able to do it because you needed to sleep. And now you just gonna stand him up and leave him there, not even call to tell you not gonna come. Girl, you are potentially ruining a beautiful relationship that, while y'all have been smashing, does have a solid foundation in friendship. And that is not actually like very common in this day and age, honey. Everybody's not cultivating friendships within their relationships like this, sis. So I'm gonna need you to heed and cherish it, because you got something special with Cam, boo-boo, and you deserve it, okay? But we know that Keisha has a lot on her plate. She actually tells her dad in this episode the truth after he finds out that she dropped the whole pre-med thing. She's going to focus on dancing. He basically reads her rights, and it's so disrespectful, but that's how it go, because parents be purring or whatever. So she's dealing with a lot, y'all. I could totally see how she's stressed, how she's overwhelmed. I do think, like I said, I definitely think that her past relationship is impacting her and how she moves with Cam, and her realizing her feelings for him, I think could definitely be very, very overwhelming. So that's also causing her to, I think, respond in the ways that she's responding. And look out for a conversation between Netta and I, because we've already talked about it and I'm going to bring it to you. We are going to deep dive into Keisha. If you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on my exclusive interview with Netta and some of the other cast members coming very, 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 very soon. Okay? What else happened in this episode that we got to talk about, y'all? Because this was another great one. I want to make a real quick side note. When Cam's mom goes to talk to Coach Turner, I was feeling the vibe from her, but ma'am, you cannot date Coach Turner because that is Auntie Amara's man. I don't know what's going on with your husband. In this episode, Damon actually comes clean and is like, yo, I want to know about my parents, my biological parents. And his mama can't tell him anything because she says it was a private adoption and his father handled everything. And as we know right now, his father is, I guess, incapacitated to a certain extent, and he does not recall things. He cannot cognitively speak and do certain things. We don't get full clarity, but we know that his adoptive father is not around and is not able to help physically or mentally. All right, y'all, I think that is it. That is my full breakdown for episode 6 from season 1 of All American Homecoming. Another brilliant episode. Now it's your turn to let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications if you haven't already, and like the video so that other people who are adoring All American Homecoming can find it and join our conversation. Also, I have my Discord server linked in the description box down below. Please go ahead and join my Discord server because we will be doing special live, special giveaways, and different things inside of there. It's going to be your way to get in contact with me, to keep conversations going with me, and have additional communication outside of social media. I know sometimes y'all don't get to see different posts that might go up depending on the algorithm. If you're not following me on, Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, all at ericavane.com, you might wind up missing a few updates, but Discord is going to be our very first line of contact and communication when there are, exclusive interviews, private events, giveaways, and additional information and things coming. So you're going to want to get into my Discord server. Again, the link for the Discord will be in the description box down below. Cannot wait to see you in there. Can't wait to continue to grow and build that community with you all in there. And I'm jumping into the comment section right now to see what y'all think about this episode. Then my preview video will be up very, very soon, as well as my breakdown for All American this week. If you are behind, I'm going to go ahead and link my All American Homecoming playlist for you right here so you can catch up on any of the videos, whether it's episode breakdowns or character conversations that you might have missed. And I'll see you in the next one.